Buy or Sell is presented by the Robertson and Cox Real Estate Team. Looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? We've got your back. Centrally located in Radford, Virginia, the RNC team is proudly and professionally serving the New River Valley, Roanoke, and Southwest Virginia. With over 35 combined years of experience, we have all the knowledge needed to help you reach your real estate goals. Contact us today for all of your real estate needs. Visit rncteam.com to learn more.
What's going on, Hokie fans? Welcome to this week's edition of everybody's favorite show, Buy or Sell. We got the football crew on set, Nick Brown behind the scenes, Will Stewart in the fourth chair, Andy Bitter across the way, Chris Coleman to my right, and I'm Giovanni Heater as always. Let's get into our ODU results for Buy or Sell. Andy had a very solid week. He went 2 for 5.
Should have been better. I was tuned in on that game. I had it just about how I thought that game was going to play out. 7-point halftime lead. All they got to do is make a 30-some yard field goal. They get it blocked. Like, come on now. ODU scores 17 points. They get a garbage time touchdown against the backups at the end to hit 17 on the dot. Come on. Should have been 4 for 5 in that game. I locked in on the receiver thing. Granted, it wasn't the receiver I thought that was going to get 5 catches. But when Jalen Lane gets 5 catches in the first quarter, you expect to do better than 2 of 5 on that. So I thought I was going to gain some ground. I thought I was definitely locked in with my picks last week, though, dude. Didn't get the results I wanted, but still.
That means Nick was cooking with the lines because some of them came that close. Chris, on the other hand, to my right, he ended up going 1 for 5 in the process. Right? You ended up getting the one right. Drones complete 65% or more of his passes.
Okay.
So that you were correct on that one. You and Andy both got that one right.
I should have got the halftime score too, but I feel like that field goal.
That illegal leaping by ODU that cost them the 3 points there.
So our lines from last week were the first Virginia Tech drive is 40 or more yards. They ended up going 40 or more yards in the process. Drone 65% or more on his completion percentage. He ended up not doing that. So everybody that sold it got it right. A Tech wide receiver has 5 or more receptions. That ended up happening in the blink of an eye with Jalen Lane in the first quarter. Old Dominion scores 17 or more. If you bought it, you were correct. And then Tech leads by 7 or more at the halftime break. If you sold that one, you were correct. So David ended up just like Andy with a 2 for 5 week. Nick Brown with a 1 for 5 week. Will, how'd you feel going 2 for 5?
Well, I got off to a hot start because I picked the first 2 right. Tech's first offensive possession for 40-plus yards. I don't think they've done that all year, right? So
they had not.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then Drones completing 65%. I mean, he'd been pretty hot at 67% for him so far during the season. But so those are the 2 I got right.
The fans ended up going 2 for 5. They got 65% on the completion percentage, and then ODU scores 17 or more. They got those 2 right. I had the worst week of anybody. I ended up going a big old 0 for 5.
Statistically, going 0 for 5 is as difficult as going 5-0. I'm just saying. On these lines, they're pretty much 50-50 lines. Like, it's tough to do that, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. So our standings currently sit as follows. At the top, the fans still lead everybody. They're correct 53.3% of the time.
Getting a little cocky about it, too, I think, in some of the YouTube comments. Maybe need to be taken down a notch on this. Stay humble.
They're the only player above 500. Andy Bitter is in second place. Remember, he won it last year. He won the buy or sell championship, so to speak. He's still waiting for his trophy.
I want a championship belt, like the WWE belt I can put over my shoulder.
$550 on the website.
Really?
Because they're starting to make college championship belts. Yeah. So I looked on there to see if they had a Virginia Tech one. And they don't make Virginia Tech ones yet, but hopefully one day.
I feel like it'd be a worthwhile purchase. I don't know.
It has one
business expense, $500.
You can put it in your garage too. You have a bunch of WWF stuff
I would display it proudly in there too.
Yeah. It would fit nice. I think we know what we gotta all pitch in for Andy's Christmas present.
Hey, Trophy Smack will sell you a customized wrestling belt for $200.
Now we need the real thing.
Well, all right then. It's a bit more
Can't be
problematic.
custom smack. It has to be WWE made.
Well, Andy is correct 46.7% of the time. He's in second place. Tied for third, we got a three-way tie. Chris, David, and Will all are correct 33.3% of the time. So a little bit of a traffic jam in the middle there.
When you
Chris.
put it like that, it doesn't sound as impressive. You got to say you're in second place, you're in third place. Don't give the actual percentages, because that's like, man, you guys stink at this thing.
Yeah, how many questions have we had up to this point? 15 questions. So what is 33% of the time? I'm not a math guy. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate
Not
that.
taking any math classes currently.
I have avoided, I will say this right into the camera, I have avoided any form of difficult math all the way since like sophomore year of high school. I realized it wasn't my thing. I never took anything more advanced than algebra 2.
And it shows. Wow. That's good.
If I had to take math in college, I would still be in college. I can't do
it.
Yeah.
But
I was great at math in high school. I took like calculus in high school.
I was
great at it.
calculus,
and now I'm like,
can't do calculus.
now I've forgotten all of it. Now they have a new way of teaching math. It's like, what is this? They completely new it. And like,
All right, y'all, stay on
I've lost
point.
it.
This video is supposed to be short.
There we go. And then we have a 2-way tie for the basement of the buy or sell standings here. Myself and Nick Brown are struggling. We're correct 20% of the time. What is that, guys?
3 of 15.
3 of 15.
Not good.
Don't fall
Nailing
below
it.
the Mendoza line this week.
Nailing it. Yeah. What is the Mendoza line?
200.
There we go. So we are at 200.
You'd
We're
be getting
batting
cut for my fantasy baseball team.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then the fans are hitting 530 and Andy's hitting 467 if we're talking batting average. So
Hall of Fame numbers right there.
let's get into this week's picks on buy or sell. Rutgers coming into town. Virginia Tech is currently 3.5-point favorites heading into the weekend. Our first line, Tech takes a 9 or more point lead. We'll start with Andy.
I originally put in sell on this, but I thought better of it, and I changed it to buy. And sometimes you have to like go against your better instincts on these and try to be a little bit different. And I thought this was an opportunity because I knew the fans were going to absolutely sell this one. Absolutely. They are hate clicking away. It is going to be a sell. So I looked at this as an opportunity to maybe pick up a point, because these games don't just go exactly how you think they're going to go.
Have you seen, because you're a little bit of, I don't want to spoil anything, but have you seen obviously Conor McGregor when he won the second belt? The double champ does what he wants. That's going to be Andy after this. I mean, he continues to go against the grain here.
I mean, you got to find your spots. Last week, I thought it was the 5 catches. I thought everybody would be against that one, and I made up ground there and didn't make up ground because I didn't get the other ones. But this is one I think, Tech take 2-score leads all the time. I don't think it's impossible, especially if you score first. I think if they score first, they've got a good chance of that. If they don't, I think it's dead in the water. That's one that you like a money line underdog that's down by like 28 points right away. You're like, this one's done with.
Chris, what do you got?
I sold it. I think I'm different than everybody else, where I don't do this competition to actually win. I just pick what I think makes the most sense.
Sure.
That's a loser's mentality right there.
It is.
I'm in it to win it here.
So I don't think either team is likely to run away from the other. Here's the thing: if either team takes a double-digit lead, then it probably won't finish in a single-digit game, because one of them will end up throwing more, and I don't think either one of them's totally comfortable with that. So that's my justification.
All right. What do you got, Will?
I am selling it. I don't remember my logic for selling it. Just that I think it's going to be close all the way, I think.
All right. David is selling this one. I'm selling this one. Nick is selling this one. The fans are selling this one. So Andy is
I'm feeling good about this
confidently
now.
against the grain.
This is an opportunity.
There
That's
we go.
What this is.
Now, give the percentages. Fans are selling it by 80%.
Okay. Gotcha. I got to pull up the I'm going to let you I'm going to let you insert the fan vote then.
Will do.
Because you got the percentages in front of you. Drone sacked 2 or more times. Chris, what you think?
I sold it. 35 passing attempts last year. Last year in this game, he was only sacked 2 times. Shano's not happy about their pass rush so far this year. I don't believe Virginia Tech will throw it 35 times in this game. I think you'll see a more run-heavy approach, fewer passing plays, and if Shiano's not happy about their pass rush, so yeah, I'm actually going to sell it. Sacked once at some point.
Chris, I'm with you there. I sold this one as well for the same reasons. And also, Kyron Drones hasn't been sacked a ton yet this year. Granted, you have to factor in the level of competition, but I feel like he stays upright.
I would say the first 2 weeks he got sacked a lot. What was it, 7 in the first 2 weeks?
7 in the first 2 weeks.
But then none last week.
There you go.
So that was my logic in buying this one, is that I know Rutgers doesn't have a huge sack total so far this year, and I know that the sheet was clean last week against ODU, but I think there has not been just perfection in the passing game right now. There's been some issues holding the ball, getting rid of it. I think it's going to result in some tackles for loss and some sacks this weekend. So I bought it.
Will, what you got?
I bought it also, which kind of goes against the grain because last year Tech threw 32 passes and Rutgers only had 2 sacks, which means, who knows how many times drones scrambled. That's at least 34 dropbacks. So not a high percentage, but I still bought it anyway. I think I was just feeling down on them.
How about the fans?
Fans, 89% are buying that drones is going to get sacked 2+ times.
Wow. David bought it. Nick bought it. So Chris and I were the only two to sell it. Drones sacked 2 or more times. Moving on to the next one. Tech's defense gets 4 or more tackles for loss. We'll start with Will and the fans.
Yeah, Tech only had 3 tackles for loss last year. I think Rutgers is going to go heavy on the run game. I think Manungai does a good job of getting to the line of scrimmage. So that is my reasoning for selling that the Hokies will have 4 or more. But now I'm talking myself in circles because Rutgers only ran 50 plays last year. If they run more, that'll give Tech more of an opportunity. Fans are buying it at 72%. So the fans think 72% that Tech will have 4 or more tackles for loss.
Andy?
I bought this one. I think coming off a week where APR lived in the backfield. I think they have a pretty active defensive line. I think Peebles can get back there too. If they run the ball a lot, 1 yard loss is a tackle for a loss. So it's not like we're talking about how many sacks are they going to get. I think Tech can get there, so I bought it.
I bought it as well. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Like Will said, Rutgers only ran it 50 plays last year. So assuming they have more plays this year, they're going to be run heavy. So I think opportunities for tackles for loss will be there. Opportunities for big plays will also be there as well. But I think it'll be one of those hit or miss games for Virginia Tech's defense.
I went ahead and bought this one as well. Tech gets 4 or more tackles for loss. We've seen Keonta Jenkins in the backfield. Josh Fuga has kind of burst through. Wilfred Penne to get a couple TFLs, particularly on run plays or little passes to the outside when you're talking about Jenkins. And then, of course, a sack counts for a TFL as well. So I bought this one. Nick bought this one. David bought this one. So Will was the only one to sell it.
Yeah.
So going against the grain, we'll see if it pays off for you. Kyle Manungai, the star running back for Rutgers, 125 or more rushing yards. I'll preface this. Nick had originally set the line at 100 yards, thought better of it, texted everybody and said, does that change your answer moving it up to 125? And nobody's answer changed to my knowledge because I'll spoil it. Everybody's buying it. Andy, why'd you buy it?
Because I've seen Manungai play, and I know what this offense is going to do. They're going to, even if they're not ahead in this game, they're not going to stop giving him the ball. So I think 100 was easy. That I didn't even have to think about that. 125, maybe a little bit more thought there, but I do think they feed him the ball enough that he gets there.
Chris?
Virginia Tech is 116th in total rushing yards allowed, 114th in opponent rushing yards per game, 113th in opponent rushing yards per attempt, 94th in 10-plus yard rushing plays allowed, 116th in 20-plus rushing yard plays allowed, 129th in 40-plus rushing yard plays allowed. You get my point here. It would be extreme to bet him not to get 125 yards this week. So it'll probably happen now.
Does a running back have 100 yards against them this year, though? Pavia got there. He's a quarterback.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Didn't the guy from Marshall have 100?
No, but they didn't. Those guys didn't get many carries. Like Bryce Duke had 86, but he only had 4 carries.
85 carries on 4 yards.
103. Yeah. The Marshall running back did get there on 6 carries.
6 carries.
69-yard run. So,
Manungai's going to get the ball probably 4 times as much as that Marshall running back did. So it's a good bet to say over 125, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I went ahead and bought it. David bought it. Nick bought it. The fans bought it. Will bought it. Why'd you buy it, Will?
Well, I bought it because last year, as Chris has detailed elsewhere, he had 16 carries for 143 yards. I think he'll have more carries in this game, and Virginia Tech's tendency to give up big plays. And the fans bought it to the tune of 82%. that he will have 125 plus.
All right. Tech 200 or more passing yards on Saturday. We'll start with Chris.
I was very divided on this. I sold it because of the struggles of Tech's passing game, but I also think that this game will be, I would say, inconsistency. Sometimes Tech's passing game is on and looks great, but there are other times where they're out there getting large chunks of the game. They're getting like 4 yards per attempt. Yeah. It's always dangerous to bet below 200 when you've got this level of wide receivers that Virginia Tech has. But at the same time, it's been under 200 in the last 2 games, right? And this is a better defense than Virginia Tech is going to be facing this week. So I went under, but at the same time, I feel like if Virginia Tech's going to generate big plays in this game, it would be from the passing game. So I was very divided on this, but I eventually sold it.
What you got, Andy?
I bought this one. I was like in sync this week. I was buy across the board.
You bought everything.
Bought everything. Yeah. I think they're going to have to throw it if they want to win this game. I think it might be tough sledding to run the ball. I feel like they play a little bit better at home. I mean, I've seen games at home where they look just completely different from when they're on the road like that and throwing the ball and running the ball pretty well. So I like them to get the 200 in this, and I think they're going to need to win this.
Will, you and the fans?
I sold it because last year, Kyron, as I detailed a minute ago, threw 32 passes and was sacked twice. That's at least 34 dropbacks, and they only had 190 yards passing last year. I just think both teams are going to be run heavy. I don't think the attempts are going to be there, so that's why I sold it. Fans bought it to the tune of 61%. They think 61% think Tech will pass for 200 plus yards.
Remember, you talked about Kyron last year. That was his first career start in that game. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in to make your first career start. So I think he's improved drastically from that time last year too.
David sold this one. Nick bought this one, and then I bought this one as well. I think, I guess my logic here was if there's any situation where Tech's playing from behind, they're going to be forced to throw the football, and there you go. So I bought this one. Any final thoughts before we let everybody go? Any words from the possible double champ across the way?
I feel like I'm going to take the lead this week. This is the moment to do it. Although I'm lined up with the fans on 4 of the 5. So maybe not the opportunity. I'm a game behind and I only have a chance to make up a game. So either be tied for first or I'll be back with, well, not quite where you guys are down at the bottom of the standings, but lower.
All right, there we go. Well, I got to do some math homework to try and fix myself a little bit here, but it's a 3:30 kick on the ACC Network or Inside Lane Stadium, Virginia Tech and Rutgers, and we'll see you on next week's edition of Buy or Sell.